Hey everyone, welcome to the Avoiding and Overcoming Burnout session. This one's going to be a great one. Thank you for coming to the ParentPorch Summit, where we are helping you turn parenting and life from chaotic to calm. And I think this session is definitely going to help with that. I am here with my dear friend, Ashley Burton Mims, who does exactly this. She helps people avoid and overcome burnout through her coaching and services and workshops. So, Ashley, I'm going to pass it over to you to introduce yourself, and then we'll jump into our conversation.
Thanks so much, Dom. I'm Ashley Burton Mims, founder and CEO of Emerald and Rose Consulting. We do burnout coaching, wellness workshops, and corporate leadership series. So we are focused on helping women and gender expansive people of color thrive without burning out. So creating those sustainable tools to still achieve all your goals, but doing that in a sustainable way to avoid burnout.
Love that. Love that. Love that. And um, where can people find you online? So, if they want to pause and go follow you right now and come back, where can they find you online?
Yes, thanks for that reminder. So on Instagram, it's burn.bright.not.out. On Facebook, it's Emerald and Rose Consulting. And on LinkedIn, the best way is just to go to my personal page Ashley Burton Mims. But you can also find me on Emerald and Rose on LinkedIn as well. And I have a newly launched website, and that's emeraldandrose.com.
Perfect. And of course, all of that will be in the description for everyone as well. So, let's jump into our conversation.
Yes.
So your personal journey is like really important to like the work that you do. And so can you share your story? What led you to become a burnout coach and how did you recognize burnout in your own life?
I love this question. First of all, I didn't recognize it. So I think that is pretty common. I was just going through the motions as a mom, as an employee, as a woman. As you know, we wear so many hats, right? We're a chef, we're a chauffeur, we are a nanny of sorts. We're cleaning up our house. We're just doing it all. The
Yeah.
caretaker for maybe like our parents as well. So sometimes we lose sight of ourselves in that. And that was my story. So in the summer of 2023, I was doing a fellowship with Zora's House, and I was just chatting with another fellow, and she's like, Ashley, oh my gosh, you need to take a leave of absence. And I'm like, who, me? How could she tell that I needed a break? Because I didn't think I was explicitly saying like how exhausted I was and how much of a physical toll life was just taking on me. At
Yeah.
that same time, I remember I had like so much inflammation in my hips, I could barely walk. I had PCOS, and that was being exacerbated. I was having panic attacks, like all this stuff was going on. But how did this lady know that I was
Yeah.
going through it? And she was a spot on. I was suffering in silence, like so many of us do. And I still didn't take the leave of absence until November. And at that point, I was like, it was dire. And I just remember, like, okay, well, now I'm taking this leave and I'll be able to like find a new job and like Marie Kondo my house and do all these like very ambitious things. And that's not what that time was used for. I cried a lot. I slept a lot. I kind of just had to have a hard reset. I went to therapy once a week. And that is exactly what I needed. And I just was motivated to say, like, okay, I don't want this for anyone else. And as I began to share my
Yeah.
story with my mentors and my peers, I recognized like most of us, especially women, are burned out. Um, some of my mentors shared with me that they had taken a leave of absence in their career. And I was like, oh, well, nobody's talking about this. Why,
Yeah.
like, why aren't we sharing this? So that really motivated me to start my own business. I did not want women to feel like they were suffering in silence. I recognize that this is not just a me issue. You and I have talked about this at length as well. So
Yeah.
that really motivated me to start Emerald and Rose Consulting.
I love that. I love that you were just sort of like naturally sharing things with somebody and they're like, I recognized you're burnt out, but you had no idea. And then you
Yes.
took this leap and you learned and realized just like how many people close to you and around you were also burnt out and dealing with things, and you let that fuel you into doing this. So I just think that's like an amazing thing.
Thank
So
you.
burnout can sometimes like creep up on us without them realizing it, just like you shared in your story. And that's absolutely something that has happened to me multiple times. What are some of the most common signs and symptoms that someone might be experiencing burnout?
Oh, I love this question. And I'm going to look at my notes, but I'll tell you for me, it was having less patience than I normally did. I'll give you
Mm,
like a quick story. We were working on a project at work and we were basically revamping a process, which I love. I normally would like totally nerd out on that. And I remember we were using a coworker like on another team who doesn't necessarily do our job.
mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, he's like doing all this inefficient stuff. I was so annoyed with him. And normally it's like the exact opposite. I'm like, oh, this is a great teaching opportunity and bringing this person along on the journey. And okay, yay. I
Okay,
figured
keep going. We'll edit that out.
they'll just edit that out. But I found myself like extremely irritated and frustrated with the whole process. Thankfully, I didn't say anything or show up that way, but I knew like upon, checking in with myself, like, oh no, this isn't how you normally would think or feel. So that was one of the examples that I wanted to share about my own experience. And then I'll read off from the Mayo Clinic and World Health Organization, some of the signs of burnout. And they're really interesting. So, one is feeling that every day at work is a bad day, feeling exhausted much of the time, feeling no joy or interest in your work, or even feeling depressed by it. I've heard that one a lot. Feeling
Yeah.
overwhelmed by your responsibilities. So, that's going back to the many hats that we wear, right? Engaging in escapist behaviors such as excessive drinking, having less patience with others than you used to. That was me.
Mm,
And then feeling hopeless about your work or life. And that one we want to pause on, right? To make sure that you're getting the help that you need if you're feeling hopeless about
yeah.
life. And then experiencing physical symptoms such as chest pain, shortness of breath, sleeplessness, or heart palpitations, you definitely want to seek medical help if you're experiencing these things. This just goes to show like how much stress can take a physical and emotional toll on us if left unchecked.
Yeah. Every symptom I was like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that the word work came up a lot. And we're talking to parents, but it can be like just replace work with parenting.
Correct.
Like replace coworker with children or spouse or partner or co-parent, grandparents,
Exactly.
right? Godparents, people in general. And you'll
Those are all
realize like you
jobs
can be burnt
too.
out. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. They're all jobs, they're
Those,
all responsibilities. And
yes,
imagine being burnt out from work and then coming home and you have those feelings don't just disappear, right? When you step away from
no,
your desk, or when you come back home from the office, they just kind of bleed into everything else.
they do.
And
They do. I'll share like a
yeah,
cute
go ahead.
story where when I was on my leave of absence, my daughter and I volunteered at our church. And I remember like just standing, like chatting with someone that I was volunteering with, and my daughter coming up and saying, hey, my mom's taking a break from work because it was really stressful. And she was maybe like 9 or 10. And I was just like, oh wow. Like I shared that with her, but she was so proud of me. And she was like, let me tell you about my mom because she was doing the most and now
Yeah.
she needs to take a break. So our kiddos see it. We are hopefully providing that example for them, right? That they're watching and listening and paying attention to us and how we're treating ourselves as well.
Yeah. I love that. Like my mom's a superhero because she's taking a break. Like what a
Yeah.
narrative shift. I mean, what a narrative shift. Like you never hear that. And for your daughter to do that, and it was like this moment of pride for her, had to be like, yes, let's do more of that. Like my mom is so cool. She takes care of herself.
Yes, yes.
You know,
Our
like
kids are
I love
paying
it.
attention. Yes.
Yes, for sure. They are absolutely paying attention. They model what they see us do. Even when you don't think like they may not fully understand it, but like when I'm stretching because my back hurts, I look over and my kids are stretching. I don't know if
Yeah.
their back hurts, right? You know, or they see me drinking water, they're drinking water, right? But if they only see me
Yes,
drinking juice and
yes.
Dr. Pepper, they want juice and Dr. Pepper. No, they don't get
Right.
Dr. Pepper, y'all. But I'm just saying, right? They're like, well, that's what mom's doing. Mom doesn't eat vegetables, so I'm not going to eat vegetables. Like, why would I do that?
Right.
So I
Right.
love that. Um, so now we know some symptoms of burnout, and we know absolutely when we should definitely seek like medical, like immediate medical attention for some of these things. And also I would say you want support regardless. If it was like the heart palpitations and stuff, all the other things you also want support from. When somebody recognizes that, what are the practical steps that they can take to get support?
I love this question. I think the first thing is recognizing it, right? Like sometimes, like I shared with my story, I didn't even recognize it. It took someone else to say, like, hey, pay attention. So I think one of the like first things we could do, and it's a small change, but it's a big one, is recognizing what rest looks like for us. So,
Mm,
well, for yourself. So for me, when I used to hear rest, I used to hear take a nap. I'm like, well, I'm a single mom, I'm a working mom. That's not always practical. And that also sometimes makes me anxious because I'm like, okay, well, I'm taking this nap, but I also have like 75 other things that I need to do. Uh,
yeah.
so for me, that's not my go-to rest technique, right? But it could for someone else. So I'm going to share from Dr. Chandra Dalton Smith some of the different types of rest that you can incorporate right away. So one is physical rest, like we just talked about. So sleep, yoga, stretching, even it falls into that category. Sensory rest. So that's like unplugging from your electronics
Mm,
throughout the day or at the end of the day. Mental rest. This is one I love. Taking breaks every 2 hours throughout your working day. Emotional rest. Cut back on people pleasing and being authentic. I think that's the one I've done the
ooh,
most. People pleasing is
yeah.
so exhausting and takes so much from you. And it's easy if you are a people pleaser to fall back into that. But
Yeah.
it's definitely a form of rest to stop doing that. Social rest, spend time with people that make you feel good. So being in community, recognizing who are energy vampires and who aren't, it's a huge
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Creative rest, listening to music, painting, drawing, going out in nature. Love this one. I love a good living room dance party.
Yes.
I love when I hear a song in the car and the kids sometimes look at me crazy. I'm like, I don't care. We're like going to have a whole jam session right now. This makes me
Yes, we
feel
are.
good.
Love that.
And then spiritual rest, so meditating and praying. So slowing down is so important. You get so much more clarity when you're still and quiet. And that one's for some people, if you're super busy, probably is a little bit more difficult to tap into. I know for me it helped to like schedule a class to go to instead of
Yeah.
trying to do it at home by myself.
Yeah. Yeah. All of those types of rest are so important. And as you were going through them, I'm like, I can totally take a break every 2 hours. We all can. You should.
Yes, you
Like
should.
5 minutes goes a really long way.
Yes,
In the day. In an 8 hour workday, 5 minutes is like 20 minutes total in addition to your scheduled lunch break, which you need to be taking. Okay. And your
yes.
15s, take those, right? And if you have a longer work day, you better take every break. Okay.
Yes, take all the breaks and just find something that brings you joy during that time, even if it's just being completely still and quiet. For
Yeah.
me, when the weather is nice, it was okay. I'm looking, the sun is out, I'm going outside, I'm walking around my neighborhood. I'm doing something that just gives me that break in the workday to reset and refocus and pour back into myself.
Yeah. I love that. Mine is the balcony with like a cup of tea or,
Yes.
coffee. Or I will like literally zone out while sitting next to my kids, like on purpose, right? So I've just given them a snack, they're eating, they're drinking their juice or whatever, and I also made myself a cup of water at the table, and for 5 minutes I have zoned out, right? I'm daydreaming, just to like let me leave the present for a second and like create something up here or create nothing. Like maybe I'm just literally staring at the wall. It's okay because I
I
got it out of like when I come back, I'm out of the 17,000 places that I just was trying to be. Now I'm back in the present and I'm like, all that really matters right now is me going to make dinner because I don't even know what those other things were 5 minutes ago. Like they were something and now I don't remember. So now I can just do the next best thing, right? And so it has helped me a lot. And
I love that.
I don't feel bad, right? I don't feel bad when I'm making up a song with my kids or that my break is playing with them. I end up feeling like better. I don't get down on myself because the laundry is definitely sitting on the couch ready to be folded. And it will get folded. It will today. But right now, I'm doing this, and
Yes.
this is a good break, right? So even if you're pouring into yourself by participating in this summit and like learning some things and hearing from different voices and different folks, you kind of start to realize like here's what I can actually shift or apply, to avoid burnout. So
Right.
I
And
love
right
this type of
away,
break.
it's not you're never going to hear me say like, "Oh, go to the spa for the day or go get your nails or hair done." Those are amazing things, and I think as a society, we're having this shift into recognizing what self-care is. That's
Yes,
wonderful and there's a place for that, but I'm not
yes,
recommending like that you spend money or like a big chunk of time because we can achieve these things and there are things you could do every day. Like I literally listen to a book or a podcast every day. It's a form of self-care for me and it
yeah,
costs me $0. I get all my books from the library. So
yeah,
like there's
yeah,
there's um that part that I want to share as well because I want everybody to understand how truly attainable this is. And you don't have to wait. I think a lot of times we are looking to wait to the weekend. We're looking to wait till we put our kids to bed. We're looking to wait until a vacation. And at the same time, we're falling apart. Like these
yeah.
are things that you can incorporate into your day to keep you regulated and balanced. And that's how we combat burnout.
I love that. That feeds into the last thing that I wanted to ask you, which is like somebody right now is exhausted. They recognized early in our conversation, I am experiencing some of these symptoms of burnout. I don't know what to do. What piece of advice would you give them today?
Ooh, I have so many, but definitely slow down and check in with yourself. And check in often and start to incorporate these small changes. So I'll give an example of one of my coaching clients who's an entrepreneur who's working 7 days a week. And when we started our coaching session, she's like, Ashley, I just want to work 6 days. I was like, okay, I love that for you. But like, how do we, how can we achieve that? And she's like, I don't know. Like, I think I can ask for help, or maybe I need to hire a virtual assistant or something like that. And I was like, I think that's a perfect goal because sometimes we're so deep in our stuff that we don't recognize that we need a little bit of help and support.
Yeah.
Her virtual assistant got her all the way together. She looked at her calendar and was like, no, you're not meeting with people every day. You're only meeting with people 2 times a week. You are going to have this Friday to just be your day. So it helped for her to ask for help, or in her case, hire help, but it made sense for her business. And this happened fairly quickly. By the time we had our next coaching session, she's giving me all these updates. She's like, I have Friday to myself and I only meet with people 2 times a week. And I'm booking more than I ever have before because I'm being intentional with my time now. So
Yeah.
I was like, yes, celebrate those wins. But
Yes.
that was a really small change that made a huge impact. So sometimes it's asking your kids to do a little bit more that are age appropriate. My kids, they are taking care of all of the cleaning and I'm letting them do it, right? Maybe they're putting stuff back a little bit differently than I would, but that's one less thing that I had to do in my week and in my day. And that gives me time during that time to pour back into me. So asking for
Yeah.
help is a big win, and slowing down enough to get that clarity as to what it is that you need help with and support with.
I love that. I love the example you gave, like of your kids. I love the example of your client. It reminded me of this social media video that I saw of a mom who was cleaning her teen's room, and she had said like she had posted a video like the previous month and got a lot of like backlash, like why would you be cleaning your 14-year-old's room? She should be doing it herself. And she's like, okay, so I'm making an updated video of me cleaning my 14-year-old's room again. I want you to know that the maintenance of this my 14-year-old does, but she has not learned how to deep clean. I actually enjoy
Mhm.
coming in here once a month and resetting and deep cleaning this for her, and she really appreciates it. She keeps it up really well, but she's not scrubbing baseboards, like all that kind of stuff yet,
Right.
right? And so she's like re-cleaning her daughter's room, and it's bringing her joy, but also she like adds these little touches, right? Like she may add some fresh flowers and whatever. She may completely change out the color or like the items, right, for that month. And I thought it was beautiful, like that your daughter is doing the bulk of that cleaning, and a way for you to like reciprocate and like show appreciation of what she is like learning to keep up with is you're like actually do enjoy doing this for her. And I love that I can leave little notes and flowers and things for her too. But
Oh,
I
that's so
imagine that
beautiful.
mom, it was like a beautiful story, and I imagine like every day that's one less thing she has to worry about because her 14-year-old actually is handling it and handling it
Right.
well, right? um
Right.
so I think about
And
my
it's
toddlers.
temporary, it sounds like. And it's
Yeah, it's
temporary, it sounds
temporary.
like, because she's showing her how to do the deep cleaning. She just isn't there yet. And
She's
that
not there
goes
yet. Yeah.
yeah, it goes with that like age appropriateness of the chores.
Yeah.
So that's really important too. But also just like letting things go sometimes, like this isn't going to be exactly how I would do it, but it's
Yep.
still getting done. And I'm still teaching them this independence and this way of taking care of themselves.
Yeah. And I get to love on them. Now I get to go and see their
Yeah.
progress and like congratulate them, right? Even with my toddlers, like them feeding themselves or them picking up and putting their toys back in the bucket so I don't have to do it. And then we celebrate. We go, yay! Like when they're done, they're
Yay.
able to do that. Like it, it's
Yes.
those were things that I was doing while they were eating dinner, and then I wasn't eating dinner. Now together, and when they sit and eat dinner, mom gets to eat dinner too. And all of that
It's
matters
a
when
big
we're talking about
win.
your health and burnout. Yeah, thank you. Because y'all, it was like years, like 2 years. I was just like not eating dinner most nights because I was like, well, okay, while they're eating, I'm gonna clean up and I can do this and I can do this and that. And recently, I think probably in talking to you was like, actually, I am taking away their like practice with some very important milestones.
Yes.
They can learn pretty quickly, and they did. And yeah, now there's more time, right? There's more time. Now I have more time and energy and headspace to do these types of things, right? Like helping to put together this
Yes.
summit and to lead it and to speak with people and record more often. And then on the weekends, we get to go out and play. And, like motherhood doesn't feel like such a burden. I know it's a responsibility, but now there's like more opportunities for this like joy, and so yeah, I love that piece of advice for parents, and I love even the stories like both of us are sharing. Like I hope that hits home for parents of kids of all ages. Even if your kids are adults, you're still mom and dad, and parenting just looks different. And probably, I'm sure that when I was in my 20s, me and my brother were both in our 20s at the same time. I'm sure my mom was like, "What is going on? Like, I don't know how to parent them through this thing." It's
Right.
probably even more stressful to have us outside of the house, right? And like trying to navigate life than it was
Right. You can't see
if
it.
you were,
Yeah.
yeah, if we were in the house and she could just be like, "Come here and sit down," so I can
Right.
like, shake you. So even with that, like, still take time for yourself after the kids have moved out. Gone to college. If they're hanging out with their high school friends, go hang out with your girlfriends. Go hang out with your guy friends. Like, you know,
Yes.
they're
You're
on spring break
speaking.
and they travel with their friends. You go on spring break to a different place and travel with your friends,
Yes.
right? Like, yeah.
Yes. You're speaking about like putting some like healthy boundaries into place. One that you were just talking about that was completely relatable for me is the eating with small kids. Like I am still, I still don't do it as much, but my day didn't start until my kiddo went to bed. So I'd have her meal all prepared. I spend that time with her while she was eating, but I would not eat around her because I was just like, I want to eat in peace.
Yeah.
So my day wasn't really starting until she went to bed. And I've made a big shift in that. I now carve out time in the morning where I'm more refreshed and I have that time. I take my kiddos to school and then I have about an hour and a half to 2 hours. That's just for me. I don't work on my business. Sometimes I catch up with friends, but I'm really protecting that time for myself and not putting it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that has been like a big shift for me as well. And now, in the end of the day, I spend that time with my partner. So I still have that time carved out and protected, but it's just for me and my partner versus like putting myself last in the day.
Yeah. I love that. This has been a wonderful conversation. I know that it's going to help so many parents. Um, where can people find you? I know we talked about it a little bit, but like, what do you have coming up? How can people stay engaged with you on a
Yeah.
regular basis? And then how can they find you if they need your support?
Yes, those are all great questions. So, one, I do a weekly series on every Wednesday called Burn Bright, Not Out. And it's just motivational tips and tricks. Sometimes they're affirmations, just different changes that you can make in your life. So, similar to the things we talked about today, you can find that on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook. So, my LinkedIn again is my name, Ashley Burton Mims. My Instagram is burn.bright.not.out. And on Facebook, it's Emerald and Rose Consulting. I also have a couple workshops in the works, so stay tuned for those. That'll be posted on socials as well. You can please book a 30-minute consultation for a coaching session via my website, and the links is also on all of my socials. And my website is Emerald, like the birthstone, and rose.com.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Well, thank you so much, Ashley. This was time well spent. I appreciate you coming to share so many good nuggets with parents and also everyone who joined. I hope that you got a lot out of this. So run it back, start it from the beginning, take notes if you didn't the first time. Listen to this podcast style. You'll probably pick up something different every time you listen to it. We absolutely want to help you find balance, find more joy, and avoid or get through burnout if you are in it. We both know exactly what it feels like to be in it, and we know what it's like on the other side. And so we're taking steps, of course, to avoid it in the future, and wanted to pass that to you. So thank you so much, Ashley. Such a
You're
joy. So many
welcome.
good nuggets. So many good resources. Um, I'm glad that we got to have this time with you and everyone else. Stay tuned for the other summit sessions. We will see you in the next one.
Bye. Thanks, Dom.
Bye. I hope you enjoyed that session. Make sure that you stay in touch with us for more content on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. It is Parent Porch, ParentPorch. Also follow me on all platforms at Uncaped Mama, UNCAPEDMAMA. Continue to stay connected with us by email. Make sure you check your email for some goodies as well, and to stay up to date on all of our events and happenings and to be ready for your next session. See you in the next one.